I'm standing in a transit center, waiting for my bus, surrounded by people who I'm not going to talk to. I'm feeling a bit nervous just standing there as I see people trickling down from the train, waiting for their buses as well. I know I could speak up, strike up a conversation, improve my social skills, but I don't feel like doing it. You see, for the past few days, I've been undisciplined. Right? I haven't lived up to the potential that I know I could be. I haven't really been sticking to a clean cut routine. Each and every night when I go to bed, I keep thinking that I could have done better today. I could have been doing more. Not in the sense of being like a hustler or trying to work as hard as I can to overworking. But I just felt like I didn't give enough, like I didn't do my best. And I've been having thoughts about my appearance, thoughts about how I dressed, the way I was living my life. All these thoughts kind of came together to make me feel like I didn't deserve to talk to the people around me. That I was too bad, that I had made too many mistakes the past few days to put myself out in situations to talk to people. So I'm standing there, surrounded by people, surrounded by opportunities to strike up conversations, to face my fears, to challenge my beliefs, but I choose not to do it. But even as I'm just standing there, waiting for my bus, looking out the glass window, behind me there are stairs, and as I hear the people coming down, I feel a hand grab my toque on the top of my head and pull it off. I'm surprised. I turn around and I see a trio of my friends who I hadn't seen since high school smiling down at me. They come down the stairs, they surround me, and without even having a choice, I start talking to them. I start getting involved in a conversation. And it wasn't a bad thing. Like, I'm not unhappy that I had to talk to them. In fact, it was great to see them again. I didn't feel like talking before, but now that I was into it, the conversation flowed super smoothly. I had a smile on my face as I caught up with these guys, and one by one, they left, they caught their buses, they went home. By the time I finished, by the time the conversation was over, I just felt good about it. I hadn't tried to puff myself up and make myself seem better. They asked me how I was doing, I asked them how they were doing. They said they were talking about university, engineering, things that they were going through within their own lives. I told them that I was struggling a bit with discipline. I was struggling a bit with being too comfortable within my life. All the things that I thought were terrible about me, all the things I thought other people would judge me for, none of it came to pass. None of it actually impacted me for who I was. By the time I finished that conversation, I was in a way better state of mind. That I just been authentic. I just spoken to them. And even for all the mistakes that I had made within my own life, like the past few weeks, it hadn't impacted how I spoke to other people. Because after that conversation with those guys, I saw a girl beside me. And previously, I would have told myself, shoot, I shouldn't talk to her. No point. I don't feel like it. All these other excuses within my mind. But in that moment, I thought, why not? I already talked to those guys. I already felt that it didn't matter how badly I did in the past few days, the past few weeks. Might as well have a conversation. So I struck up a conversation, faced one of my fears right now, which is just talking to more girls. And for half hour, as I hopped onto the bus, as I went home, the girl had the same bus as me. We talked. It was a super honest conversation, super authentic as well, where I'm talking about books, things I'm reading, things I'm struggling with in my own life. I'm not oversharing, mind you. By the time I get home, by the time I hop off that bus, say goodbye, head up to my house, the limiting belief of thinking that I have to be perfect, that I have to hide all my insecurities and mistakes from other people, it's kind of been annihilated. Because I feel like the reason people don't really have great conversations, at least why I don't have great conversations, is if I hide what I'm trying to say, if I try to paint myself as a perfect picture and not be authentic, it's like a subtle lie to the other person, a subtle dishonesty that other people start to pick up on gradually. Where if I'm not honest, if I'm not who I say I am, and people realize that, people figure that out, it's like I've been lying to them this entire time and they have no more desire to speak to me or continue the conversation. But when I'm just honest about what I'm going through, when I'm honest that I have rough edges and I'm not a perfect individual, people tend to not care. People tend to think, damn, thank you for sharing that. Thanks for being honest with me. And then they move on with their lives. They continue to include me in their friendships. They continue to just be good people to you. The biggest reason I feel like people don't have good conversations is because you are probably hiding yourself away from them. You're probably hiding the true thing that makes you you, the things that you are interested in, things that you want to talk about, things that interest you and want you, like things that you want to pursue. If you hide that stuff away, if you try being what everybody else wants you to be, you're a puppet, right? You're not interesting. You're not somebody anybody would truly want to talk to. I know this because I've done it within my own life. I've made myself out to be the person I thought other people wanted me to be. All that did was neuter the interesting parts about myself. The girl I was talking to at the transit center, we talked about books, right? And as we were talking about like cross country, track and field, whatever, the conversation about there was some sort of connection that I made. And I talked about this book that I'm reading, right? Lord Fowl's Bane, an old fantasy book from 1979. And in this fantasy setting, there's this thing called the land, the place where the characters live. And it's supposed to be beautiful, right? There's supposed to be horses that are beautiful. The land is beautiful, tree. The earth is alive with like this primal power. And I talked about that. I literally made a connection about how beauty can be connected to this thing called the land from the specific book that I was reading. And that's what I was interested in, right? I wasn't lying about that. I genuinely meant it. But I was using a connection that felt authentic to me. That I thought, wow, I love reading. I have a connection to make. Why don't I say this to the other person? And when I did that, when I actually just made that connection with the girl, she literally was surprised. She's like, whoa, I've never heard anybody make a connection with books like that. Like, do you read a lot? Like, that's actually really interesting. And all I did was be myself. All I did was talk about the things that I was personally interested in, the way I saw things and sharing my perspective on the matter. Because if she had said to me, hey, I go to Harvard, the way I would be authentic is I would ask questions about Harvard that I'm personally interested in. I think, oh, she asked me about Harvard. Oh, do you know about the Harvard track team? Because I do track and field. That's what interests me genuinely. The things that just pop up in my mind, the things that I'm interested in, that the other person is talking about, the things that I can connect with, that is where the great conversations are made. That is how you have a conversation that just lasts 10 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. Because when you are truly interested in the conversation, when you are genuinely invested in what the other person is talking about, and you bounce it back with the things that you are interested in as well, people will listen. People think that, damn, this person actually has a unique mind, a unique personality, something to bring to the table, and they're interested in what I have to tell them too. But when you pay that respect out to somebody else, when you are authentic, other people will pay that back in turn. They will listen to you. They will find you interesting as well, engaging, whatever else you want to say. But if you are authentic and the other person doesn't click with you, what then? I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing when you talk to someone, you don't click with them even when you are authentic. Because being authentic is not a cheat code to having perfect conversations. Being authentic does not mean your life will suddenly be perfect. Every conversation will be perfect and your life is going to be set. All it means is you will find the people you are meant to connect with. Being authentic, putting yourself out there, and sharing the message that truly resonates with who you are. Right? Just putting your true personality out there. And I mean your best self, not a weird, creepy, crude version where you're spitting out everything that comes into your mind. When you have restraint, when you are putting your best self forward, and you're being honest about it, you'll find the people you are meant to connect with. And if somebody doesn't connect with your like authentic self, when somebody thinks that, nope, you're not the sort of person for me, you just realize like you guys weren't compatible in the first place. It's good that you found that out now so you didn't waste time later. It sounds a little harsh, sounds a little cruel, but it's not a judgment on the other person or yourself. So if you're authentic, if you want to have better conversations, if you want to have conversations that genuinely interest you, that go somewhere where you remember them days and days afterwards, where you feel like, damn, that conversation really helped me out. I really enjoyed talking to that person. That was an amazing conversation I just had. Be authentic. Find like-minded people. Just put yourself out there as the person you are, and you will attract the people you genuinely want to be around. Right? Just be authentic. Be you. The people will come. But that is all for this video. Consider subscribing if you like this content. So have a good one, right? Peace.